Well, I'm excited today to have the opportunity to talk with Asantewaa Tweedie, who is the author of what the first book was called, the first edition of her book was called Ghanaian Cooking with a Twist, and that came out when, Sarah?
In 2002.
In 2002. And now in 2011, she has a new improved version, an updated version that's called Melting Pot, Ghanaian Cooking with a Twist. It's a very nice graphics and an exciting book. And what I'm excited about especially is this unexpected opportunity since she's visiting the U.S. for a few days to talk to her about her book and what made her write the book in the first place, how it's doing, and the new edition. So first of all, why did you write the first version of this cookbook, Sarah?
Well, I wrote it for the sake of my family. I have 3 biracial children, and I thought it would be better to share with them the nutritious cooking of Ghana. And so with the help of my husband, mother-in-law, and friends, I put together recipes that we enjoy in our family.
Okay. So you are from Ghana, and give us a little bit of background. What's your background? Where are you from? What was your training? What are you doing now?
Okay, I'm from Ghana, originally from the Ashanti region, but I grew up in Takoradi, which is western region, and folks there cook different from the Ashantis, where I come from. And then my father's job moved us to the very north part of Ghana, which is Bolgatanga, and the people there also have a different type of cuisine. Out of my curiosity, I began to ask questions about the cooking and why they add certain things or omit certain things in their dishes. And then I developed the taste for different Ghanaian foods, and so I put it together when I had a chance to have the time to write it and the money to publish the book.
And that's great. Now I think don't you have a background in health or something? So you added. Can you explain what that is and how it helped you in devising the recipes?
Okay, I grew up in a home that my father worked in the medical field. So growing up, healthy eating lifestyle is all I know. And then when I married my husband, who is American, we moved to the States, and I had some working experience in the hospitals, starting from Pennsylvania, and then we moved to Baltimore. And I worked in the dialysis unit with kidney disease patients.
Were you a nurse? Or?
Yes, I was a nurse. And it dawned on me that most of the diseases could be prevented, especially kidney disease, for instance. And if one could check the amount of sugar they put in food, salt, saturated fat, and all that could prevent a lot of diseases. And so I thought about the best way to transport this information to my folks in Ghana. That means the whole of the Ghanaian population, because we tend to adopt the Western cuisine without knowing what saturated fat can cause to the body, or whether or not sugar, too much of it, is healthy. And so with a nursing background and also growing up in the medical home, my father being in the medical field and seeing how, he was in the lab, he worked in the laboratory. And so he taught me about, doing some maybe experiments on blood, sugar, and all those things. And then will educate me on eating less sugar. At the time, I didn't know the difference of too much sugar or too much salt or anything. But he did encourage me to be careful about my eating habits and all. And then working in the hospital in Maryland at the Johns Hopkins Hospital actually was a wake-up call for me, because I saw firsthand someone with kidney disease.
The consequences of poor diet.
Of that. And so that got me to write this.
Okay, well that leads into something else. One of the things I've noticed about Ghanaian cuisine itself is that it's very low in sugar. I mean, unlike a lot of the Asian, like Thai cooking or Japanese cooking, where sugar is added into main dishes, it's not common in Ghana. I mean, I think probably tatali and bambara beans is the only thing I know where people actually add sugar, some people, to the bambara beans when they're eating it. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know
They do that. Some people do that. Some people are purists and won't, but that's the only dish I can think of where you actually add sugar directly in. So it would seem to me that it's more that when people are getting used to drinks that maybe have a lot of sugar added to them, like soda pop, soft drinks, or even like ginger beer, some of those things, hibiscus tea, some of those things can have a lot of sugar. But what I've noticed is more related less to the sugar, which is often because of ice cream or because of soda or cakes or sweets, not the main courses. It has to do with the fats, the salt, and the portion sizes. Okay, so could you say a little bit? I noticed, for example, in your cookbook, you don't use seasoning cubes, whether it's Royco or Maggi or whatever, and that you also control pretty carefully the amount of oil that goes into it and salt and things. Can you tell me more about that and how people have found your cooking, if your cookbook is too strange to them, or if they can accept it?
Well, the issue with the food additives is that we have a saying, experience is the best teacher. I noticed that anytime I went to an Asian restaurant to eat, my tongue would be sore and my gum would be sore. And then I started paying attention to how often I got a sore mouth and all. It turns out it was the food additives that
like
was
MSG
causing it.
or
the
something?
MSG causing it. And so I decided that before I go out with my family, if they want to go eat in a restaurant, I won't prevent them from eating. They can eat, but I eat before I go. And I just watch them eat. And I leave the place very happy because I don't have the sore gum at all. And so I began telling people about it, educating them that if you feel this weirdness in your mouth, chances are it's the food additive that is causing it. So from now on, just pay attention to what you eat. And then if you have that feeling, chances are that's what caused it. Cut it down or just stay away from it totally and see what happens. And most people have told me it worked. They didn't eat it, and then they felt better, and now they don't even use it. You can use ginger, for instance, to flavor your soup, meat, or whatever you are cooking.
Or garlic.
Or garlic, especially garlic.
The shrimp.
Garlic and ginger, you have to use those in your cooking. Whether it's soup, stew, sauce, whatever, use garlic and ginger.
The natural ingredients.
Yes. It's very healthy.
Okay.
And also, portion control is very important. Eating a balanced diet is so healthy.
And more vegetables too. You were saying that.
Like I said, more vegetables to your soup. You don't have to put it in the soup right away, but when the soup is all about done, add some spinach to it or contour to it, for that matter. It's very healthy. It helps you, you don't become constipated. It prevents constipation.
I have a friend, excuse me, I'm interrupting you, but I have a friend who's a culinary professional, and she told me she adds carrots to her chicken light soup, and her kids love it. And it's and I didn't believe it, but I tried some. It's a very subtle blue flavor, but it's adding some, vitamin whatever E is it that carrots have, and other good things for you, fiber and things too.
Fiber,
so,
yes. So you need to add that, and also, I will advise Ghanaians especially. My main aim of writing the cookbook this time is to educate the Ghanaian population that eating too much carbohydrate or too much meat doesn't make you a rich person. And so if you're not, careful about your portion control, you could end up dead before your time. And so, for instance, if you hold your fist, that's about the size of kenke or banku that you have to eat. If you want extra, how about some extra soup? Or extra vegetables.
Right.
And also, if you eat, I advise that a heavy meal has to be eaten maybe 5 hours or 4 hours before bedtime. You don't just eat that fufu and go straight to bed.
That's hard on your body to digest it.
And also make a point of moving about. Any little exercise, any form of exercise is healthy for the body.
I know you were saying that some people think that you're just naturally thin and beautiful, but you work hard at it.
I work hard at it. I've set my mind on exercising every morning, like it or not. Any chance I get, even during the day, I'm stretching. Anything to keep me young, fresh, healthy, pretty, I'll do it. And so I watch what I eat, the amount I eat, the time I eat. And I'll advise every Ghanaian woman or young woman or child to follow my footsteps. We want a healthy nation.
Right.
And so please
act accordingly, right? I know that some people had told me that the current generation of young women in Ghana are moving away from the traditional image of a very healthy and loving and nurturing woman was a big woman, okay? And that now, especially Western standards of beauty, which are sometimes exemplified by models who are exceedingly thin, unhealthily thin, even if you like, have been picked up by the young girls, and they want to be slim like those models, but that they may go about it the wrong way. They may starve themselves as opposed to eating a more balanced, healthy diet and getting the exercise. So you would say, be careful what you eat and also exercise so that you stay in shape, in a healthy shape. Yeah, that's great. Now, how about the new edition of your book? What does it cost? Where can people get it? How can they get it?
Or you mean here in America?
Well, anywhere. Let's hold it up. People, and if you want to give me some copies, I have some copies of your earlier edition. Then people could also write to me, and I could send them out for you. But let's see. I wanted to get closer on this. Okay. What are some of the changes in this book as opposed to your earlier book?
Okay. In this book, I hired a graphic artist and also a photographer to
do professional quality photos and design.
Yes, and then I had an editor encourage me or direct me as to not just put in the food, but also state where the food comes from.
Yeah, regional.
And I've also included just a page of common Ghanaian names, like the day name.
I always have to do that when I go to schools. I always have to tell people that Kofi Annan or Kwame Nkrumah or somebody they know called Amina is a Ghanaian day name. Yeah, that's great.
And I also included Idinkra symbols.
Right. So there's a lot of cultural information here. And one of the things that I loved in your earlier edition, and I know you've kept it here, is your meal selection matrix. And here, for beginners who just don't know, what goes with peanut soup? What do I eat with light soup? Or what if I want to have a tomato sauce? What do I serve with that? That's with the little check marks on it. It's just a great guide to get people started. And then, as you were saying to me, mix it up. You can add more vegetables, or you can add other things, and that's what we call fusion cooking.
Yes.
But you have a basic guideline here that's really helpful. I think that's great too. So people can get in Ghana. Where do people get it?
Almost every popular bookstore. I have some at the Silverbird, at the Accra Mall, Kingdom Bookstore in Osu sells some. Challenge Bookstore. Every hotel that has a gift shop.
This would make a wonderful gift also for people who want to introduce their non-Ghanaian friends. But for the Ghanaians, one of the things I really appreciated in here was the Obroni Adriani section, because there are lots of Ghanaians who like certain American foods but don't really know how do you make a hamburger, how do you do garlic bread. I mean, people love garlic bread, but just putting the garlic in the margarine or the butter and flavoring the bread it's not a traditional Ghanaian thing. So I think that's a little extra there for Ghanaians themselves who want to be able to cook their families some of the foods.
And the last but not the least, I give a hint about cleaning the kitchen.
For nutrition and sanitation.
Purposes. And so if you get this book, it's not only about cooking, but it teaches, more than cooking, how to keep your refrigerator from smelling, how to keep the kitchen so neat that anyone will come to you just to see your kitchen.
This is interesting. Another thing that you shared with me earlier when we were chatting that I think is very kind of unusual for a woman in your position is that you do your own cooking, and you and your children and your family cook together rather than having somebody else do the cooking for you and the shopping and the cleaning and all of that. So how do you manage that?
It's reasonable to share with my children what I enjoy. For instance, once a week I'll take my daughter to the local market. Where it's all muddy. If it's a rainy day, it's all muddy. You step in almost
I know
whatever. You know what I mean by that.
Yes, I do.
And I let her know that we bargain at the market. You have to buy just the right amount of tomatoes so that it doesn't go to waste, and the time that it takes to sort out good vegetables and fruits and all, where to get your fruits, where to get the meat. We don't buy it all in one place. I buy my vegetables and fruits at the local market, and then I have to drive somewhere else to buy the best tender beef. Or go somewhere else for bread. I just want my children to know that eating is not just food.
It's the quality of the
quality.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to say my mother, that's one of the gifts that I got from my mother. My mother, we didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, but my mother knew good food. She knew when a mushroom was a good mushroom. She knew when lettuce was good lettuce. And she taught us, she had 3 daughters, she taught us that. And to this day, I don't understand when someone walks into one store, just fills up their cart with everything they want, whether it's ripe or not ripe, or it's overripe, or it's got bruises. And you have to learn that by walking beside someone who tells you, pay attention to this and that. So.
And this is why I buy and all that.
Exactly. So your kids have gotten a gift, and I assume that's your sons as well as your daughters.
Oh, yes, my sons love it too. They all have their own cookbook.
Okay.
And when I'm tired, when I'm too tired to cook, I will fix maybe the carbohydrate. Actually, no, that's a mistake. I'll fix the sauce or soup. And my son or daughter has to fix the carbohydrate. My younger son is very good with spaghetti. He can fix. He's 15 years old. When he comes home from school, Mom, what's for dinner? I tell him, I made the spaghetti sauce. Go fix the spaghetti, and then your sister will steam the vegetables.
Okay.
Or I'll tell my daughter, you go fix the rice. I already made the tomato sauce.
Okay.
And then cut up some carrots and fix the vegetables.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much. I wish you all the best. If people want to get copies and they're not in Ghana and they don't have CDs in hand, then what do you advise that they would do? Is there an address they could write to? Would you like them to contact me, or?
I would like them to contact you. I'll leave a few books with you.
Okay.
And then they can contact you.
Right. And, we go to, my husband and my daughter will both be in Ghana in a month or two, so we also have ways of moving things back and forth. And if they fly off the shelf, we'll have to make sure that we get more. Okay. And so you can give me the information on the ordering, the cost, and all of that, and I will put it up on my on BETUMI blog. How's that? Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
With getting the word out about how great Ghana's cooking is.
Thank you very much.